you can say all the bad things you want about this town. The traffic is terrible, you know, pollution, it stinks. You know what? For $50 an hour, I'll deal with it. I'll deal with being stuck in traffic for an hour. I can take it, right? I'm making over $100,000 a year, and I'm 22 years old.
His story is typical.
His story is typical. He is explaining the value proposition to the rest of the world. He's explaining that Fort McMurray has only one thing to offer: money. Well, the truth is we have challenges that require solutions. The truth is we're controlling what he says by our current mindset. I'm not totally satisfied with him communicating for all of us, but we need to fundamentally understand why he's the one out there. We need to refocus on our future, reclaim our reality, and realign to our potential. Have you ever wondered how we got here? Well, I remember as a kid watching houses get barged down the river from Uranium City, understanding fundamentally that that community's industry failed and the community failed. We gasped. Could that happen to us? Well, Suncor was on strike. The All Sands project was shelved. The National Energy Program crippled our industry. Interest rates at 22%. People were losing their houses, their businesses, and their shirts. This created a survival mindset, and that core thinking led to the development of a temporary city. And that was ingrained in everything that was done. Everyone knew that that was the driver to the decisions that were being made. And the people in this region understood that too. This historical group of people that lived through that time of survival was so focused on it. They wanted to live here. They loved Fort McMurray. They were survival driven, but they had a fixed mindset that said, I love it just the way it is. You know, leave me alone. I like it like this. They thought that industry is temporary and the community is temporary. But they taught us a real valuable lesson. They taught us a critical lesson. They taught us to survive, we have to work together. City and industry were aligned to one common goal, one common purpose: survival. Now that's a major triumph. Many corporations around the world strive for that point of alignment, that point of common purpose. We did it as a community. We did it as an entire community, an entire region. We survived. We triumphed. And we continued to survive. And we continued to survive. And we continued to survive. And we didn't notice. While we were so busy surviving, industry made a fundamental shift, an operational shift to truck and shovel. They're now a permanent, viable industry. They're an industry that understands that they're here to stay. They're an industry that has a thriving attitude and a growth mindset. And with that new thriving industry, a whole new group of people poured into our community. These people were the temporary workers. They were here because they have to be here. They had a survival mindset too, but not like the historical survival mindset. Their survival mindset was based on surviving for themselves, leaving their communities, coming to Fort McMurray to make money. The two groups had a tension between them. The historical group liked Fort McMurray, liked that the community was easy to get to, but all these people poured in on them, poured in on the community. Lines got long. I had to wait for my coffee. I wish they would go back. You know, that kind of tension came in. And you know what? The temporary workers weren't having that great a deal either. They were living in subpar rental positions, living in basements, paying high rents. It wasn't a great experience for anyone. What would you say about a community that makes you pay $2,000 a month to live in the basement? In 2008, something significant happened. The recession hit us. But it didn't. We didn't even feel it. Yeah, sure, some housing starts slowed down. Yeah, sure, some oil sands projects got delayed. But 3 really positive things came from the 2008 recession. First of all, number 1, it proved that oil sands is permanent, resistant to world markets. It will survive and it will thrive. 2, we were able to get some key projects opened in the city, some amenities. And 3, a whole new group of people poured into our community, a whole new group of engagers. These are people that have a thriving attitude. They basically think, I'm going to go here, the great opportunity, I'm going to capitalize on it, and I'm going to make some changes. And they have a growth mindset that says, it's obtainable. I can do this. I can get this done. These are people with big ideas. They're innovators. These are people that care about families and care about making a better place to live for all of us. And with them came a temporary engagers. They're about the same as the engagers, except they're willing to be here. They're willing to come here for the experience, but also willing to shoulder some of the burden of change and growth. So what this is, ladies and gentlemen, is a population characterization model. This is a model for us to understand our internal populations so that we can build a new value proposition. It's split up into 4 quadrants. The historicals that want to be here, they live here, this is their home. I've been living here since 1974, I love it. The historicals, the engagers, they're the people that are choosing to come here. I'm choosing for quality of life. The have-tos, the temporary workers, I have to be here to make money. And the temporary engagers, I'm willing to come for the experience. The historicals, the temporary workers have survival mindsets for different reasons, but they're still survival. The engagers and the temporary engagers, they have thriving mindsets. The historicals and the engagers, they're here for a long time. They're making a permanent commitment to our community. The temporary workers and the temporary engagers are here for a shorter time. So why do we care? Why does the world care what's happening here in Fort McMurray? Well, the world needs to care, and the world needs to be concerned because of 2 fundamental drivers. The first thing, those internal forces, those internal population groups of our community. The second thing is world demands. We're facing the largest challenges to secure the world's energy. We're facing the largest challenges to make sure that we're environmentally sustainable. Those 2 challenges are critical. And those 2 challenges, if we don't get those right, we're at risk of global issues in energy, global issues in environment. A lot of pressure. But we can do it. We've done it before. Because an industry that thrives alone in independence will not meet those demands. If an industry stays independent, it can't possibly attract enough people, the best and brightest, to solve the world's problems. Those people we have to look at a new way of challenging it. Can we, again, refocus on the alignment of the past, move from independence to interdependence, and use that corporate model to build a community? Well, let me talk about a value proposition. This is a value proposition for corporations. It's a model used to find common purpose, common goals, common focus. A price point example would be Walmart, where you save money. Or a service directive would be WestJet, fun to fly for us. It's fun to fly with us. Or a product-driven value proposition, BMW, the ultimate driving experience. Those value propositions are all made to attract customers. But because we're a community that can align, can we use that value proposition model as a fundamental driver to solve our problems? Can we take a look and say, we have opportunity for all? Can we aggressively attract citizens? Can we say, I choose to live here in Fort McMurray, and you should choose to live here too? You should fill that seat beside you. You should fill that house beside you. You should choose it too. Because we have a great value proposition. We could have great services and experience. We can have a phenomenal product in place. Now, there's critical roles that we have to do. We go back to our characterization model, and you take a look at the permanent, the historical, and the engagers. They are our builders. They're the ones that are going to build the new value proposition. They're the ones that are going to challenge and innovate the services and the product of our community. Now, the historical group, they're critical. They're critical for three big reasons. First reason is we need to challenge their thinking. But we need to challenge their thinking respectfully, because you remember, they made all the right choices. They made all the right decisions at the time. Just now the time has changed. Also, you notice they are the largest box. They hold the largest influence. They hold the hegemonic view of our community and the hegemonic view of our mindset. And they hold the most influence. So we need their influence because they're the ones that have got to total community alignment. They're the ones that have to teach us how to align. And the engagers are the ones that have to put a new purpose, a new vision, a new value proposition. The engagers are the one, their thriving attitudes, they have to continue to push with dialogue and discussion, push the thinking. They're the ones that have to say, we need this for our community, and keep challenging the thought process. These two groups are charged with building a new value proposition, a new product. YMM, the ultimate living experience. And we know that we can do that with new forms and attract people that want to live in a place where they innovate. Like Silicon Valley, where people go to Silicon Valley to create the next innovation in information processing. Well, we can have people come to our community that are going to create the next innovation in oil, the next innovation in reclamation. They can be a part of something as special as any computer nerd could be in Silicon Valley. Hey, if they could make typing on computers sexy, we could bring a little sexy back to Fort McMurray. We could have a little bit of a swagger here in Fort McMurray, and we really should, because we have a lot to be proud of. We have a lot to swagger about, because we have these world challenges to face. Now, the second group is just as critical. The temporary group, you see, they have a different role. Their role isn't building. Their role is sharing. And this is the piece that's really critical. Because you'll see that the historical group's circle of influence is large, but it's internal. The engagers group's circle of influence is large, but it's also internal. These two groups, of course, are the builders. But these temporary groups are very important. First of all, these temporary groups are going to come and help us add this value to the community. We have to, first of all, accept that it's okay to have temporary residents. As industry ramps up and builds these world's largest projects, and we do a reclamation project inside the community, we need these people. We need to respect these people, we need to encourage these people, and we need to build a positive experience. We need to plan for them, build for them, and most of all, accept them. We're a boom town, and gosh darn it, that's okay. We need to accept that. The reason these people are so important, because their experience circles are, yes, the engagers, the temporary engagers, when they're here, they're engaged. But when they move, they bring that message around the world. And these people are all over the world. The temporary workers, though their influence is minimal, They're the ones who have a huge influence external to our community. They're the ones being interviewed by CNN, CBC, and GQ. So if we provide them a quality experience, an ease of lifestyle while they're here, where they can go back and send a different message, that is important. It's like the kid that goes after university and goes to Whistler, and he goes, hangs out to Whistler, waxes some skis, and he's so proud of the time he spends there. He goes back to Saskatchewan and he high-fives the people in Saskatchewan. Yeah, I was just in Whistler for 2 years. It was awesome. We too can have that experience for people. We could become a resort community for opportunity. That sends a whole different message out to the world than the message that's going out now. If we create a city that's clean and livable, when they go out and tell the story, it's a different story. It's about a story with a positive value proposition. So what I'm saying, what I'm asking, is we need to rethink our past and rethink the people that are inside our community and the population groups. Refocus on a thriving growth mindset. Reclaim our potential and our opportunity to build a permanent city, and realign to a common purpose based on interdependence, working together. And I'm suggesting that we can use a value proposition model as the fundamental driver to shift our mindset, to shift our thinking. Because you know what? The only barrier we have in this community is our imagination, is our own creativity, and our own mindset. Jesse, what do you say about that? Oh, this city's great. I make $50 an hour and $100,000 a year. It's a great place. People appreciate me. They thank me for contributing to an amazing region. The city is well designed and it's clean. Opportunity is second to none. I may raise my family here someday. Thanks, Jesse. We control what he says. What do we want him to say? My name is Sheldon Germain, and that's my idea we're sharing.